In today's episode, don't put stock away until you say, okay, I'll watch it die. You want to deal with a man? Alright, so be it. Want to disturb me whilst I work? Sure, I can help. So let's get started. Don't put stock away until you say, okay, I'll watch it die. On mobile, so forgive errors, etc. I worked for a small independent greengrocers that had a boom of business during the first lockdown and so brought me on to help deal with orders, organizing their website and general admin. I am the sort of person who likes to get stuck into things wherever I work, and so slowly, I started doing bits that were not really my job description, but helped other staff out. One of these roles was to put stock away and rotate it in the fridges. Every morning, we would get a delivery of fresh fruit and veg. I'm talking about 6 pallets worth of stuff. I would have to go through it, take it to the correct fridge and basically put it behind the older stuff, so that shelves were being stocked with oldest produce first. Now the manager of the company liked to think he knew exactly what was going to sell every day, and would frequently overbuy certain products. This meant that in order to fit everything in, I sometimes had to reorganize where things went. To clarify, the fridge was small. You walked in and could move in an L shape, while seeing all produce pretty much at all times. There was nowhere that couldn't be seen if you moved further into the fridge and simply looked. Because of the overbuying, a lot of produce was stuck in the fridge for days and days and resulted in it going bad. What didn't help was that the manager decided any orders that came in would not get picked from what was in the fridge, it would be picked from the pallets. So we had very little stock movement coming out of the fridge, but loads of produce going in. One Monday morning I come in, I didn't work weekends, to find 3 pallets worth of rotting produce that the manager had taken out the fridge on the Saturday and left to sit in the yard behind the shop for me to see. He claimed that I had been hiding the produce, so the shop assistants were not able to stock the shelves with the older produce, and this resulted in a lot of waste. I took a quick look at the stuff and as expected, it was the products that had been overbought. I tried to say as nicely as possible that there was no way I could have hidden it, and the reason a lot of it was wasted is because we had too much to begin with. But the manager could never be wrong, so he told me from now on, not to put any stock away unless he approved it. Cue compliance. Next day I come in and it's a scorcher. Very hot for the UK, one of the hottest of the year. I see the stock set outside on pallets, and can even see some of it sweating already, despite only being out about 15 minutes before I arrived. Normally I would get straight on it and start putting it away, but I had not been asked to yet, so I went up to the office and got on with some admin. Turns out, the manager had an appointment that day until around lunchtime, approximately 5 hours after I arrived, and turned up to find 5 pallets of produce, around 4K in value, all nicely baking in the sun. The smell was not great, all soft fruits, berries mostly, had to be thrown immediately, and based on how warm most of it was, only the stuff that had been placed lower down and in the center of the pallets was even viable to save. The manager called me into his office and phoned the owner of the company, so I could explain why we had lost so much produce that day, and you know what, I did just that. My conversation with the owner was short and sweet, and I had no negative consequences come from it. The manager was giving a warning, which, as he had been pulled up for other issues previously, was a written warning and put him closer to being let go. He stayed another 6 weeks before deciding this wasn't the job for him. As for putting the produce away, when I came in the next day, I didn't even ask, I just got on with it as normal. You want to deal with a man? Alright, so be it. I used paragraphs, because it's long. Also sorry if there are any grammatical mistakes or my syntax is wrong, English is my second language. Okay, so I run a smallish business with my mother, uncle, aunt and occasionally brother and girlfriend, fireworks, balloons and various stuff and decorations for events, weddings, funerals, other businesses, etc., etc. Small town, not crazy busy, but not swatting flies out of boredom. So guy walks in Monday, wants a huge balloon arch and some other designs, plus fireworks plus some custom-made stickers for the coming Sunday for his wedding. My mom greets him, I was at the bank at the time, and asks him to elaborate on what he needs. He gets all smug and demands to speak to the man who is usually at the store, me, because a woman wouldn't understand the complexity of the order. Mind you, my mother is literally the backbone of the entire business. She makes the balloon designs, sets them up nice and pretty, arranges them, the whole shebang. So she tells him to come back tomorrow, when I'll be in. I come back from the bank, she tells me the story and tells me to handle it, although she'd prefer if we didn't deal with the idiot at all. And so, malicious compliance time. Monday goes by, Tuesday comes and I head to the shop. Dude walks in around 11 a.m, my mom nudges me to let me know he's the guy. I start with the whole hey, welcome, what can we do for you, blah blah, and he starts telling me his complex order. I stop him, tell him I have to go to the bank, it's urgent, and he can tell my mom what he needs, she will be more than able to help him. His face goes fully sour and asks when I'll be back. I tell him in 2 to 3 hours, give or take. He can either wait for me or come back tomorrow. He waits for an hour or so and leaves. Comes back Wednesday morning. Same story. I have to meet our supplier, we'll be out for 2 to 3 hours. He waits again for the second day in a row. Thursday comes around. He walks in again. This time I fully intend to listen to him. So I grab a pen and a paper and I'm ready to take notes. He asks for 3 of our simplest balloon designs, and the cheap ones at that, in 3 different colors, some basic fireworks, and asks if we can be at the wedding to set it up and light up the fireworks. After a certain level, fireworks must be lit by professionals with specific licenses, us. So I look him dead in the eye and let him know that I have absolutely no idea how to help him, seeing as the balloons and the fireworks are not my area of expertise, and he will have to defer to my mother. His face turns pale. He begrudgingly tells her all the same things he just told me. She writes it down and lets him know that he will be charged extra for the things he wants, because we should have been told on Monday, and now we are going to have to spend all night making it. So it's gonna be an extra 40%, the price tag for all the stuff was around $1,000. He starts losing it, refusing to pay that much for the things and the service. Thing is, nobody else does what we do, at least not anywhere close. So my mother very kindly lets him know that if he had told her what he needed on Monday, instead of waiting for me, he wouldn't have to pay the 40% extra. And if he wasn't gonna book us on the spot, then the extra charge would climb as we would have even less time to fulfill his order. He obviously agrees because there was nothing else he could do, pays up and leaves. We went to the wedding, did our job, got paid, and he was probably pissed as all hell the entire time. Wanna disturb me whilst I work, sure I can help. So this happened a few days ago at home. I'm on phone, so sorry about formatting and spelling, English isn't my first language. Some backstory, I was planning a day to study for school since I'm starting that in a few weeks and I'm unsure about how to write a couple of texts. I had planned this day ahead of time, and had told all of my family that I will be busy, including my fiancée that I only talk to via computer due to long distance at the moment. The day before my study day I had reminded my family again that I will be busy the whole day with studies, and will only come out of my room for food or bathroom use. They all understood and said there wasn't anything new about that since I'm already in my room all day every day. I had started my study day all right, but mid-study I had ran out of water. I decided to go to the kitchen to fill up my bottle. My mother is in the room cleaning it and my sibling is there making lunch. I went to the sink to fill up when my mom says, "Och du kan sopa I hop scrap it." Which basically means, and you can sweep the trash together. Now I had already taken too much of a break out of my study just to fill up my water, but when it comes to my parents there is no buts, and so I said okay I will. She then walks out of the room to do other stuff, and that is when I decided to maliciously comply. I decided to only sweep all the trash together into a big pile in the middle of the floor, and then leave for my studies. My sibling watched me and said I would get in trouble, but I had my plan thought out perfectly. Around dinner time I come out to the kitchen to ask when dinner is, and what we are having for dinner, and that is when my mom asks why I left the floor. I said to her that she only asked me to sweep it together, not sweep it up. She says that she obviously meant to sweep it up and I answered with yes probably, but that's not what you said. Thanks for watching.